Welcome everyone, this is On Just Restart, and this time we're talking about whether there will be a Splatoon 3 Global Testfire and when we could be seeing it happening if so. Now the idea of Testfire has come into question because we are approaching the release of Splatoon 3, we're really not that far away, we're less than 2 months away from its release, and still no Testfire has been announced, not to mention, some will argue that unlike Splatoon 1, where they already did a Testfire online stress test for the Wii U, there's not a need for Splatoon 3 because they already did it for the Switch with Splatoon 2. But I will beg to differ, and we're going to be talking about that in this video. Now before we jump into things, let me first very quickly talk about my social media. You may see a few different things here on screen. You can check that all out, it is linked in the description below. Perhaps consider liking the video, it's super helpful for the channel, and if you haven't already, if you enjoy this kind of content, subscribe, and perhaps consider joining as a member. So let's first tackle this idea of whether there will be a Testfire for Splatoon 3. And the answer, in my opinion, is probably yes. So the reason I say that is 1, Splatoon 1 had 2 Testfires, and Splatoon 2 effectively also had 2 Testfires. So Splatoon 1 came out May 2015. But the first Global Testfire actually came out early May 2015, a few weeks before the release of the first Splatoon game, and then a few months after its release in August, we saw the second Splatoon Testfire. So, even though they did a Testfire, a stress test for the game, even after its release, there was a second one. So perhaps they still wanted to test things out, but also I think the value of the Testfires isn't just to sort of test how things are running online, but also to give people the opportunity to actually play and enjoy the game for free, so that way they can actually consider it, get a taste of it, and actually purchase the game. And what's good about the Testfires is that they're only available for a short amount of time, so unlike some demos in the past where you could just sort of enjoy that and that may give you your fix, the Testfires are short and they leave people wanting more. So they're a great way to get more people into Splatoon. But then going into Splatoon 2, Splatoon 2 released July 21st, 2017, and the Global Testfire for Splatoon actually happened months beforehand towards the beginning of the Switch's life cycle. And I think in part they did this so they would have more content for people to enjoy when the Switch actually came out, but it was also as an online stress test for the system, testing multiplayer games, perhaps even beyond Splatoon, or just sort of getting an idea of that, and then also obviously to get more people interested in Splatoon 2. And technically there wasn't another Testfire, but there effectively was in the Splatfest World Premiere, which was basically that, a Testfire that included a few other things that allowed people to enjoy Splatoon to some capacity a few weeks before its release in July of 2017. So clearly with both Splatoon 1 and 2, Nintendo felt the need to put out a Testfire or some sort of demo so people can enjoy and check out the game. But also something else that should be mentioned is that early last year, Nintendo replaced their multiplayer server system, the NEX, with the NPLN. So what's interesting about this is now a new multiplayer server system that we've seen some games running on already, like Monster Hunter Rise. And surely with Nintendo's premier online game, they're going to be optimistic of this game performing well on this new server system. So I think it makes some decent sense for them to put a Testfire running on this. They did something similar with Nintendo Switch Sports as well earlier this year. So considering the history of there being Testfires for the different Splatoon games, and also somewhat of a need to check things out on a newer multiplayer server system, I think there definitely is some sense to be made here in considering Splatoon 3 getting at least one Testfire, perhaps maybe even 2. One before its release, and one afterwards. We're now in mid-July, Xenoblade Chronicles 3 is going to be releasing in just a few short weeks, and then August we don't really have that much coming directly from Nintendo, but then early September we are seeing the release for Splatoon 3. So assuming there will actually be a Testfire, when could we see this actually happening? Well, similar to Splatoon 2, there was an event a couple weeks beforehand. And considering how many things have and will be happening in July, and how vacant August is, and how early into the month of September Splatoon 3 is coming out, I feel like the best bet is sometime in August. So nothing in July, nothing in the beginning of September because of how much time is left for both months. But then when in August? Well, I would say maybe late August, basically 2 weeks before the release of Splatoon 3. So Splatoon 3 is releasing September 9th, which is a Friday, and if I were to put that 2 weeks earlier, I would say the Testfire could happen in the week between the 21st and 27th of August. Will it be immediately 2 weeks beforehand? I mean, I think it could probably come out, yeah, probably around then, because I want the Testfire to be available during the weekend. So it wouldn't shock me if there's a Splatoon 3 Testfire that takes place between the 26th and the 28th of August 2022. And that's my estimation or prediction, I guess you could say. I'll predict that, sure. I'm not super confident in it because, you know, they could do things a week earlier. They may just do it in the middle of the week. It may not be a weekend-long Testfire. It may just be for a day or for a few hours during a certain points in the weekend. But yes, I do think we will be seeing a Splatoon 3 Testfire to some extent around this time. But what do you guys think? Do you guys agree that there will likely still be some sort of Testfire or demo for Splatoon 3, and will it be happening towards the end of August? Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Anyways, everyone, this is On Just Restart. Thank you so much for listening and watching, and I'll see you all really soon. Take care. Bye.